her son and others from the family were targeted tonight.
Immigration enforcement has been a priority for President Trump during the second term.
It happened in the morning at the home located near 79th Avenue and Hillside Street.
Tonight, in a quiet neighborhood near 79th Avenue and Hillside Street, immigration enforcement arrived where many least expected it, right at the doorstep. Families say they were blindsided as federal agents moved in early in the morning, surrounding homes and carrying out targeted arrests. One mother told reporters, "I still don't understand why my son and others in our family were targeted tonight." But according to officials, this was no random sweep. You see, immigration enforcement has been a top priority during President Trump's second term, and now the strategy is shifting. For years, you've seen the footage, raids at factories, construction sites, even schools. But what happened here marks a turning point. Federal agents are moving directly into residential communities, the very places where undocumented immigrants live, often in overcrowded or unstable conditions. Now the crazy thing is, this isn't isolated. Look at what's been happening in other cities. Investigators say many of these houses are packed with multiple families, sometimes 6, 7, even 10 people under one roof. Others, they claim, are being purchased under shady circumstances, fueling an already overheated housing market. And while activists call this enforcement heavy-handed, struggling Americans say they've been priced out of their own neighborhoods for decades. Make no mistake, this latest action signals a broader shift in federal priorities. No longer just workplaces or public areas. ICE is now embedding itself into residential streets, treating overcrowded houses as the new front line of enforcement. For thousands of working-class Americans who feel abandoned by policymakers, this is the kind of crackdown they've been waiting for. So let me ask you, do you think ICE should focus more on neighborhoods, or should workplace raids remain the priority? Comment 1 if you support neighborhood enforcement, 2 if you think workplaces should be the focus, and 3 if you believe both need to happen at the same time. And make sure to subscribe, because these operations are expanding faster than most people realize.
Immigration enforcement has been a priority for President Trump during the second term. Federal agents detained 7 people at a home in Oakland yesterday, including a teenager. KTVU's Zach Sauce live in Oakland. And Zach, you spoke with a family member who was there when this operation went down.
Yeah, Mike, and tonight that relative says she's still not sure why her son and others from the family were targeted tonight. She is pleading for their release.
Federal agents moved in on a quiet neighborhood, detaining 7 people from a single home. And make no mistake, this was no accident. Immigration enforcement has been one of President Trump's top priorities during his second term, and now we're seeing that play out right on residential streets. Now here's what's shocking. Family members are saying they don't understand why their loved ones were targeted. One relative pleaded for her son's release, insisting this was all a mistake. But according to officials, this wasn't random at all. These raids are driven by intelligence, and in many cases that intelligence comes from the people who live right there in the community. You won't believe this, but law enforcement sources say tips from American residents are one of the fastest ways ICE identifies problem houses. When neighbors call in with details, names, addresses, suspicious activity, those calls carry weight. Online reporting exists, sure, but it can sit in the system for days. A phone call from a verified resident, that's the kind of information that triggers immediate action. The result: in Oakland, 7 were detained. First reports said 6, but officials later corrected the number. And if immigration status checks confirm what agents suspect, deportation is very much on the table.
They come and they force the door to get in.
Speaking through a translator, the woman who asked for her face not to appear on camera says her son, niece, and cousin, as well as 4 other people living inside her East Oakland house, were all taken away by ICE agents on Tuesday.
In East Oakland this week, ICE agents forced their way through the door of a crowded house and removed 7 individuals, a son, a niece, a cousin, and 4 others. The woman left behind spoke only through a translator, her face hidden from cameras. And that, right there, tells you something about what's happening. We are living in a nation where English is the official language, yet case after case shows people choosing not to learn it. Think about what that means. From the earliest days of this country, English has been the unifying thread. The leaders who built America spoke it. The Constitution was written in it, and generations of immigrants who came legally worked hard to adopt it. But today, many of those entering illegally don't even attempt to make that effort. They live in communities built by others, rely on translators for the simplest interactions, and still expect to benefit from everything this country offers. That's not assimilation, it's entitlement. And here's the harsh truth. While hard-working American citizens are being priced out of neighborhoods like Oakland, undocumented newcomers are managing to secure homes, often packing multiple families under one roof. The result is overcrowded streets, strained resources, and a housing market that ordinary families can no longer afford. What happened in that East Oakland house wasn't just an isolated raid. It's a window into a larger problem. Communities being reshaped, opportunities stripped away, and the very foundation of the nation undermined.
Taken away by ICE agents on Tuesday.
Forzando la puerta para entrar.
And they didn't bring an order to get into the house, and they tied.
ICE agents entered the Oakland house and detained everyone inside. Family members claimed there was no order shown. But here's the reality. Under federal law, agents don't always need to present a warrant if the door is already opened to them. This is why immigrant advocacy groups constantly tell people not to answer the door. The legal protection of a private home only holds until someone from inside makes the mistake of opening it. Once that happens, the agents are within their authority to walk in and carry out detentions. That single detail, the door being opened, is exactly how most operations succeed. It's a small action with huge consequences, and it's the reason so many raids end the way this one did.
Happened in the morning at the home located near 79th Avenue and Hillside Street. Among the detainees, all from multiple Central American countries, a 17-year-old boy.
He's terrified. He's terrified. He doesn't know what's happening.
Nicholas DeBreemaker, an immigrant rights attorney, now representing the group, which also includes a man with what's described as a severe disability.
No person with that disability.
The morning raid in Oakland ended with multiple people taken into custody, including a teenager and a man with a serious disability. Advocates rush to highlight those details, but here's the blunt truth. Neither age nor medical condition changes someone's legal status. If a person crosses into the United States illegally, they have already broken the law. Yes, it's difficult to watch a 17-year-old caught in this situation, but the responsibility lies with the adults who brought him here, not with immigration enforcement officers doing their job. As for the man with a disability, the same principle applies. Compassion doesn't erase the fact that he is still in the country unlawfully. Officials confirm the detainees came from different Central American nations. Maybe some shared family ties, but not all. That alone makes it clear this wasn't a single household being unfairly singled out. It was a group of individuals who all lacked legal status. And here's what it comes down to. Arguments about rights, conditions, or treatment don't change the basic fact. The law is clear, and once someone is here illegally, enforcement is not optional. It's necessary.
No person with that disability should ever be detained.
The lawyer speaking with some of his clients Wednesday at ICE's San Francisco field office.
And right on cue, here comes another activist lawyer, rushing in to shield people who broke the law.
No child should ever be in a detention center like this, and there are laws protecting children against that. He's very afraid. He hasn't, since yesterday afternoon, he hasn't spoken to any loved one.
At ICE's San Francisco field office on Sansom Street.
Nobody should be detained there for more than a few hours, let alone a child. It's really just a few bare rooms.
Let's be honest here, calling a 17-year-old a child is a stretch. At that age, most teenagers are driving, working, and making real-life decisions. In fact, in plenty of states, 17-year-olds can already be prosecuted as adults if they commit serious crimes. Now sure, this isn't a criminal case, but the principle is the same. We're not talking about little kids in elementary school. We're talking about nearly grown adults who cross the border illegally. The solution doesn't change, deport them. Families can stay together, just not here.
It's unclear what prompted the ICE action, but offered this advice to undocumented immigrants now in the country.
People have a right not to open the door. ICE can really only enter if they have a judicial warrant signed by a court.
According to the family, at least one of the detainees is here on asylum.
Miran de nosotros lo bueno que somos.
The immigrants, we just come like to help that.
It's amazing how often the word asylum gets thrown around, like it's some kind of golden ticket. But here's the reality most people don't want to admit. Applying for asylum doesn't suddenly make you legal. It's just a claim, nothing more. In this situation, the fact that ICE detained them shows exactly that their case hasn't been approved, which means they're still here unlawfully. Even if someone is mid-process, it doesn't shield them from deportation. And if the story doesn't hold up in court, they're gone. Another key fact most people don't realize is that immigration judges aren't independent federal judges. They operate under the Department of Justice, which means the Attorney General has the power to reassign, overrule, or even remove them. That's why so many activist judges who tried to bend the rules have been shown the door. So let's set the record straight. Asylum is just an application. Until it's approved, you're still here illegally. Deportation remains the outcome.
Miran de nosotros lo bueno que somos.
The immigrants, we just come like to help that.
We keep hearing the claim that immigrants are the reason America prospers. But let's be honest, America was already thriving long before mass illegal immigration ever became a reality. This nation was forged through the vision of its founders, the sacrifice of soldiers, and the relentless labor of working-class Americans who built our cities, industries, and communities. From the earliest colonies to the rise of the modern United States, it was the people already here, settlers, pioneers, freedmen, and their descendants who laid the foundation. They didn't rely on wave after wave of outsiders to make progress. They endured hardship, fought wars, and carved out a nation unlike any other. So when people suggest that today's illegal immigrants are somehow essential to America's future, they're dismissing the very legacy that created this country. The truth is, America doesn't need unlawful entry to survive. It needs respect for its laws, its history, and its citizens, the very people who actually built it.
She says her son, who came here when he was 9 years old, graduated with good grades from high school and now works as a manager at an area restaurant, making this plea.
Y aún así se lo llevaron.
She wants him to come back with her.
And we did reach out to Immigration and Customs Enforcement on this. So far, we have yet to hear back. As for the attorney, he's currently working to secure their release, but he says that has been made more difficult by the fact that some in the group have already been transferred to a...
Let's be clear, once someone is detained by ICE and transferred, the odds of them simply being released back into the community are slim, and that's exactly how it should be. The United States cannot function if every person who crosses the border illegally is allowed to stay just because they've built a life here afterward. Yes, some may graduate high school, some may work decent jobs, but that doesn't erase the fact that they came here unlawfully. Meanwhile, millions of American citizens' families who've done everything right are struggling to afford rent or save for a home. Yet we see case after case of undocumented families packed into houses, driving up demand, and squeezing out the very people who should be first in line. That's why this kind of enforcement matters. ICE is doing the work many politicians refuse to do, removing individuals who have no legal right to be here and opening up opportunities for actual citizens. Every deportation means safer neighborhoods, fairer housing markets, and one step closer to restoring order to our communities. The bottom line is simple. America's future belongs to its citizens. Enforcement ensures that promise is kept,